Hi, in this video, we're going to be going over yet another bootable USB all-in-one repair toolkit, but this one is a little different because it's meant for Windows and Linux, and I believe there's also a macOS version coming up as well. So if you're running either of these operating systems, you could use the same toolkit to help get you out of a bind. All right, so it's called All-in-One System Rescue Toolkit. So this has been around for a while. It was kind of in hiatus, I think for like 8 years maybe, but now it's been updated and ready to use again. So if you go to their website, which I'll have in the description, you could download it and read about it. You can see over 25 years of experience. You can see the features here, boot in most Windows, Mac OS, and Linux systems. Free to use. So there's 3 editions, the community edition, which is free, which is what we're going to be using since everybody likes free stuff. Then there's the supporter edition, which has some extra features such as automation and branding. Then you have the professional edition, which has everything the others do have, plus white label branding. So you could call the toolkit whatever you want and use your own custom branding for your business. And then we have some download links here if you want to do a torrent or some direct downloads from Google Drive or OneDrive and so on. All right, so we have the ISO file here, and it's 2.5 GB, so not too big. So we're going to use Rufus to create our bootable flash drive. You could use whatever tool you like. We're going to skip the update part here. And of course, you could use a tool like Ventoy and add multiple recovery toolkits to one flash drive if you have a large enough one. All right, so you need to have the right drive selected if you have more than one flash drive because it's going to get overwritten. So make sure you check that out first. Okay, we need to select our ISO file here, which is on the desktop, so we'll choose that. Okay, now you have the option to use MBR or GPT. And if you want to enable the dual boot UEFI BIOS mode in Rufus, you just have to press Alt-E on your keyboard, and you'll see a little message down here in the corner, but it's cut off by the taskbar. Since I'm recording in low resolution, you can't see that. So that might be an option you want to use as well, or maybe look it up first before you decide to try it out. All right, so once you have everything ready here, just click on the Start button. Now it's going to give you this message here. If you want to run in ISO mode or DD mode, we're going to use ISO mode here. Now it's telling us everything the drive is going to be destroyed, so we'll click OK. All right, so this will take several minutes. You might see some File Explorer windows pop up in the meantime. So I will pause the video and we'll be back when it's done. All right, so our flash drive is complete here. We'll click on Close. We go to File Explorer here. We can see the contents of the drive. All right, so what I'm going to do now is restart the computer with the all-in-one system repair toolkit, and we'll check it out. All right, so you can see we have our Grub boot menu here. You need to make a decision within 30 seconds or press a key to stop the countdown. All right, so you could just run the app from here all in one, or you could use the safe graphics mode, or do some other things such as boot from next volume or check your UEFI firmware settings. So we're going to choose the first one here, press enter. All right, so just need to accept the agreement here to continue. All right, so if you've ever used any of these other toolkits, you'll notice this one's a little different because it's more of a Linux desktop compared to like a Windows desktop, which you get with the other ones. And everything's done via this screen here rather than from a virtual start menu with different applications organized that way. And if you close this, you could open it again by clicking this. And if you want a web browser, you could just click on this rescue browser right here. Then we have some log files, and we have similar icons down here, and you even have a file manager. All right, so when you go through this, if you've used some of these other ones, you'll notice it's laid out differently as well. Over here, we have some computer information, system info right here, IP address, motherboard type, and so on. Then we have the general section here. So if you want to verify your toolkit integrity, open File Manager. So this opens up Double Commander actually, which is different than the one you have on the desktop here, down here. Then some of these things you're not going to really care about, like streaming music while you're working on your computer, most likely. Reboot to safe mode. Game we don't care about. Task manager, and you can see this is not the Windows Task Manager, but you might need to use this to kill something that you're working on. If you want to open up a terminal, not a command prompt, but actually a terminal, like a Linux terminal, you could do whois domain lookup. Then we have hardware tab here, dead pixel test. You want to see device manager. So this is not the Windows device manager. So you notice, a lot of these tools are Linux based, but they still work within Windows. Disk management. You want to view your disks, see your partitions, play with them, and so on. Run the memory test, hardware monitor, hard drive test, resource monitor. Disk usage, this might come in handy here. So you pick your drive if you have more than one, click on scan. This will take a minute. All right, then you can just kind of drill through your folders here and see what's going on there. Then secure erase, if you want to erase some disks, you could try that. All right, OS tab, crash viewer, check your packages, check your system files. See, this would be something here used for a Linux distribution. Startup apps. All right, now you notice that registry editor and system restore are grayed out, and that's because we're not running this within Windows. So you can run this tool within Windows, which we're going to show you next, but we just want to go through some of the options here from these different tabs, and then we'll try that out. All right, utilities, disk cleanup, file copier, defrag, you see that's grayed out as well. You could use Ventoy here to create another bootable ISO. You can see it's downloading right there. Keep awake, clone your drive. Here's the rescue browser, which is here. Data recovery. Then we have some networking. You could actually run a speed test if you're actually connected to the internet. Multiple terminals. You want to view your open ports. Network discovery, Wi-Fi analyzer if you're using wireless, which I'm not on this computer. Ping test. Right, see that works. We have a valid internet connection. Reset your network, firewall, and query some ports. All right, security settings. You can see these are grayed out as well, but you could use these. Just one thing to keep in mind is you might need to be connected to the internet to get some definition updates first. Then we have a bunch of antivirus removal tools such as Malwarebytes and Bitdefender. And then for the autofix options, they're not available in the free edition, but you can see there are many other options here if you did have the higher end version. And then you could customize it if you want to do that. So when you're done, you could just come here, go to System Tools, and reboot. All right, so let's go ahead and do that, and then we'll try it out in Windows, and we'll see if those other tools are no longer grayed out. All right, so we're back on our desktop, so all we need to do is go access our flash drive here. And you can see here we have an executable and also the executable for the web browser if you needed to use that. So we'll just run this. Say yes to the UAC prompt. You can see it puts a log folder there. All right, accept the agreement again. All right, so since I'm recording at a low resolution here, it's not really fitting on the screen. Let's see if I could hide the taskbar maybe. All right, so we can see here we have the same type of options here. Let's see what happens when we click on terminal, for example. You can see it opens a command prompt instead of a Linux terminal. All right, let's try file manager. All right, you can see it opens up double commander here as well. All right, let's go through some of these other tabs. We won't go through everything like we did before. Let's see if disk management opens, which it does. disk usage. Let's check that out real quick. All right, so that's the same tool. Give us a little log here. Let's see what Startup Apps does. Brings up the system configuration utility. Registry editor now works. System restore. So it's turned off on this computer, but that works. See if we can uninstall apps, if it'll bring up the Windows settings. It actually brings up control panel for that. All right, utilities. We have our disk cleanup and defrag. You can see clone disk is grayed out. I guess we can't do this within Windows. All right, networking. View open ports. Gives us a notepad file there. Let's see if this opens up the actual firewall. It does. All right, security. Now you can see we have more of these tools that were grayed out before, and these are all the same. And then we have the same options here. All right, so as you can see, the all-in-one system recovery tool is pretty powerful, and it's nice that you could use it within Windows. Obviously, Windows is going to have to be running to be able to do so, but there are some nice tools you could use within Windows if you're still able to boot into it. All right, so like I said, I'll put a link in the description where you could download the all-in-one system recovery toolkit, and you could try it out for yourself. All right, thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe.